Triston McKenzie over 5.5 strikeouts. This bet was available at plus 152 on Caesars, and that is where Discord and myself took it, but market consensus seems to be about plus 125 to plus 130 right now, and I'm still very fine taking it there. Today's game is in Cleveland. Weather is decent with very little chance of precipitation. Wind is blowing in from right center to about the third base bag, around 8 miles an hour, so light breeze. No weather concerns about this game getting postponed or delayed. So let's talk a little bit about Triston McKenzie. Last season, McKenzie was a very promising young pitcher for Cleveland. He was dealing straight nasty gas. He was a guy I had circled. He was a guy I made sure to look for every 5 days. Unfortunately, after June 10th of 2023, he had to be sent down to the IL, and he spent pretty much the rest of his season there, making 2 very forgettable appearances late in the season versus Baltimore and Detroit. Getting into how McKenzie's done this year, he struggled to start the season, which is understandable. Coming off a long IL stint and having your pitches managed isn't always ideal for how to start the season. Plus, you have to readjust to MLB pitching, MLB stadiums, and pressure and leverage. I thought I was getting kind of cute taking McKenzie in his first start back versus Seattle because they had him lined very low in my opinion, and he showed some first time back off of IL's problems. McKenzie since has done a great job dialing in and has put in 3 strong performances in a row, striking out Oakland 6 times, a much improved Boston team 7 times, and an extremely K-adverse Houston team 6 times. Now I want to go over a few things from the poor starts he had at the beginning of the season. Like I said, I believe he's turned the page, but it's important to understand why I believe he turned the page. As you can see below, the first time out, they only let McKenzie see 17 batters and kind of had him on a pitch limit. That has since been stretched out, and you can see that he's facing over 20 batters on average. Next, I want to talk about his hits allowed. When you have a young guy coming off the IL, the tendency is to want to give him the short hook when he starts giving up hits because you don't want his confidence to get rattled. As we can see here, early in the season, he was giving up 4 hits, but now that his stuff's better and the team has more confidence in him, they are letting him pitch through contact, giving up 3 hits versus Oakland, 6 hits versus Boston, and 5 hits versus Houston. The manager is clearly a lot more comfortable with how Triston is throwing to leave him in when he's getting hit around like this, where he was yanking him earlier in the season. For me, this is the biggest indication that Triston has been getting much better. McKenzie is not known as a guy who gives up a lot of walks, and you can see in his first 3 starts, he was very walk prone, giving up 2 to Seattle, 4 to the White Sox, and 6 to the Yankees. Since that 6 walk outing, Triston has gone 3 walks versus Oakland, 2 walks versus Boston, and only 1 walk versus Houston. As long as McKenzie continues to trend in the right direction with his walks, this guy is going to be a stud. Last but not least, outs recorded. Obviously with high walks and a lot of hits allowed, he was getting yanked decently early. Now over the last 3 games, we see Triston with his arm stretched out and the manager being much more comfortable letting him pitch deeper into games. Going a full 7 innings versus Houston, and again, clearing his strikeout line, which is mad impressive versus a K-adverse Houston squad. Last thing I want to quickly touch on, and then we can get out of here. Triston splits home versus away. Triston is a much better pitcher in Cleveland. As you can see below, this is his stats from 2022 to 2024, going over 5.5 Ks at home. And when we go and look at 2022 to 2024 away, you can see that he's clearing that line with much less consistency. Detroit kind of stinks. It doesn't matter if they're facing left-handed pitching, right-handed pitching, if it's day games, if it's night games. Detroit just strikes out a lot. Now, Detroit does have a lot of different lineups, and they have been playing a lot of different guys and moving parts in their lineups. So I would not be surprised if they throw out a lineup that's very, very K-prone, or they try and put out a K-adverse lineup for them. But either way, I don't care who Detroit puts in their lineup. I think McKenzie's got the stuff to sit 6 guys down on Ks, and that's why we are backing Triston McKenzie over 5.5 strikeouts is Burrows' baseball play of the day. As a quick reminder, the first pitch for this game is at 6:10 p.m. Eastern Time. The best price when I was researching this was plus 152 over on Caesars Sportsbook, but I believe everything is in the plus 130 to plus 125 area now, so shop around. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. I hope these videos continue to help. Not to brag, but we went 5-0 last week on baseball play of the days, and we look to keep that momentum rolling today. Links to all my research tools and additional content is available below. I look forward to seeing you at the window. Oaks out. Doses.